a comprehensive look into the life and legacy of Prophet Muhammad. This document presents an in-depth exploration of the life, mission, and legacy of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, emphasizing that understanding him is fundamental for any Muslim seeking honor and virtue. The text begins by introducing the Prophet's early life, painting a picture of a man destined for greatness from birth. His name, Muhammad, his father's name, Abdullah, and his mother's name, Amin, are all mentioned as part of his noble lineage. His birth in the year 571 AD in Mecca is highlighted as a significant event, but his childhood was marked by a series of profound losses. He was born an orphan, as his father had passed away before his birth. He later lost his mother at the tender age of 6. He was then placed under the care of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, who also passed away 2 years later. Finally, he was raised by his uncle, Abu Talib. This series of hardships is presented as a testament to his resilience and strength of character. The document also notes that even before his prophethood, he was known for his integrity and was respected in his community. It also mentions his marriage to Khadija, Khadijatul Kubra, at the age of 25. He was never an idol worshiper and spent time in contemplation, seeking a higher truth. The divine call and the first revelation. The narrative then shifts to the pivotal moment that changed the course of human history. The first revelation. The text describes how Muhammad, in his quest for spiritual clarity, would often retreat to the cave of Hira on Mount Nur, near Mecca. It was here, at the age of 40, that he experienced a profound and life-altering event. The archangel Gabriel, Cebrail, appeared to him, initiating the revelation. The prophet's initial reaction was one of awe and fear. Gabriel commanded him 3 times, with a powerful embrace each time. Read. To each command, the prophet responded, "What should I read?" After the 3rd command and embrace, the first verses of the Quran were revealed to him. Read in the name of your Lord who created man from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord is the most generous. He who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not. This divine message was a transformative experience, marking the beginning of his prophetic mission. He returned home in a state of deep emotion, and his wife Khadija was the first to believe in him. The revelation of the Quran continued for the next 23 years, shaping the foundations of Islam and guiding humanity. The struggle in Mecca and the journey to Medina, Hijrah. The document then recounts the challenges faced by the Prophet and his early followers in Mecca. For 13 years, they endured immense persecution, verbal abuse, and physical hardship at the hands of the Quraysh tribe, who saw his message as a threat to their polytheistic beliefs and economic power. The early believers were a minority, and their faith was tested at every turn. In the face of this relentless oppression, the Prophet received a divine command to migrate. This momentous event, known as the Hijrah, saw the Muslims leave their homes and possessions behind and journey to the city of Medina. This migration was not merely a physical move, it was a strategic and spiritual turning point. In Medina, the Prophet was welcomed by the native Muslims, and the Islamic community flourished. The Hijrah marked the beginning of a new era, allowing the Prophet to establish an Islamic state and to fully implement the teachings of the Quran. The document highlights the Prophet's success in uniting the diverse tribes of Medina and establishing a brotherhood between the Meccan migrants and the Medinan helpers. The text concludes this section by noting that the Prophet passed away at the age of 63, having successfully completed his mission of guiding humanity. He left behind a perfect example in his life, the Holy Quran, and his Sunnah traditions. The status of the honorable companions, Ashab Kiram. The final pages of the text are dedicated to the immense status and honor of the Prophet's companions, known as the Sahaba. The document explains that all the companions hold an extremely high rank in Islam. Their unique status is attributed to the fact that they were the first generation to witness the Prophet in person, receive his teachings directly, and support his mission with unwavering loyalty. The text emphasizes that they were not ordinary people. They were the most devout and courageous individuals who sacrificed their wealth and lives for the sake of Islam. They were the ones who carried the message of Islam across the globe, and their efforts were instrumental in establishing the early Islamic civilization. The companions are categorized into two main groups, each with its own special honor. The Muhajir. These were the brave Muslims who left their homes and wealth in Mecca to migrate to Medina for the sake of Allah. Their sacrifice is seen as a cornerstone of early Islamic history. The Ansar. These were the native Muslims of Medina who welcomed the Muhajir with open arms, offering them shelter, support, and resources. Their selfless generosity is celebrated as a key factor in the survival and success of the early Islamic community. The document stresses the importance of holding the companions in high regard and warns against speaking ill of them, stating that doing so indicates a weak faith. It concludes by listing the four most prominent companions in order of their greatness: Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, radiallahu anhum. These four are revered as the first righteous caliphs and are considered the greatest people to have lived after the prophets themselves. Belief in the Day of Judgment. The documents you provided contain a detailed theological explanation from an Islamic perspective, focusing on two key concepts: the Day of Judgment, Ahiret Günü, and the appointed time of death, Isel. The first page begins with the heading Ahiret Gününe İman, which means belief in the Day of Judgment. This is identified as the fifth pillar of faith in Islam, a core tenet that shapes a Muslim's entire worldview. The text meticulously outlines the events of the Day of Judgment, painting a vivid picture of what will happen after death. It states that belief in the hereafter involves believing in a series of events: the blowing of the trumpet. The document mentions two blows of the trumpet by the angel Israfil. The first blow will mark the end of the world, causing all living creatures to die and the universe to cease to exist. The second blow will resurrect all the deceased, bringing them back to life to be gathered for the final accounting. The resurrection and gathering. All human beings will be resurrected from their graves and gathered on the great plain of the Mahshar for the final judgment. The giving of deeds and the scales. Each person will receive their book of deeds, a record of every action they performed in their life. These deeds will then be weighed on the Mizan, a scale of justice. This detailed accounting will be thorough, with nothing left out, not even the smallest action. The Sirat and Judgment. The document mentions the Sirat, a bridge that must be crossed to reach paradise, as well as the concepts of Shafa'at, intercession, Kevzer, the heavenly fountain, Jannat, paradise, and Sehanim, hell. The text emphasizes that Allah created this world and everything in it as temporary. The Day of Judgment will be a time of ultimate justice, where everyone will be held accountable for their actions. The document also makes a strong statement about the importance of this belief, noting that anyone who does not believe in the hereafter essentially does not believe in Allah and His Prophet. The appointed time of death, Isel. The second part of the text, under the heading Isel, focuses on the concept of death from an Islamic perspective. The word Ekal is defined as the fixed, predetermined end of one's life, which has been written and decreed by Allah. Key points about Ekal include: divine decree. The time of death is not random. It is a muqadder, predetermined event. No one can die a single moment before or after their appointed time. The finality of life. When the appointed time of death arrives, a person's life will come to an end. It will not be delayed by a second, nor can it be brought forward. Cause of death. The text clarifies that the specific cause of a person's death, whether it is an illness, an accident, or any other reason, is merely a means. The true reason for their death is the arrival of their ekal. Regardless of the circumstances, a person has died because their predetermined time had come. This concept reinforces the idea of divine control over all aspects of life and death. The certainty of a preordained esel provides a sense of peace and acceptance for believers, reminding them that life and its end are part of a greater, divinely planned order. The final judgment and its consequences. The first page continues with a more detailed description of the final moments of the Day of Judgment. It states that all human beings and jinn will be brought before Allah to be held accountable for their actions. Every single detail will be meticulously calculated, and justice will be served. The righteous will receive their due, and those who wronged others will face consequences. After the final accounting is complete, the righteous will be rewarded with paradise, Senate, while the wicked will be punished with hell, Gehenna. The ultimate reward for the believers is not just paradise but also the incredible honor of seeing the Chamal, the divine presence face of Allah, a concept that is considered the pinnacle of spiritual bliss. This is contrasted with the fate of those who deny the hereafter, Allah, and His Prophet, who are described as having a deprived and unfortunate outcome. In essence, these 2 pages lay out a foundational understanding of the Islamic beliefs concerning life after death, divine justice, and the predetermined nature of every individual's lifespan.